If men were really disciplined, we could control the paradigm, but it's that box, man.
If men could have kept their together, we wouldn't have communism. We would have listened to McCarthy in the 50s. We would have stopped it back then. We wouldn't have the plague it is now.
It was always the women, and above all, the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies, and the nosers out of unorthodoxy.
Dude, at every critical linchpin moment, it's not a woman standing there. It is a man, and the person opposing him is another man.
Welcome to Just the Guys Podcast.
If you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button, share, subscribe to Just the Guys Podcast. Of course, we do our recording on Saturdays, and our podcast episode gets released on Wednesdays. Today, we are asking the question, are too many women being pushed in the front line? I mean, just this week, we saw the whole Renee Good. I'm actually going to play a clip of that in just a moment. But Renee Nicole Good, she's out there protesting or demonstrating or whatever they call it nowadays, and found out that these ICE agents aren't playing. I'm sending prayers to her family. It's a very unfortunate situation. However, why are we seeing so many women on the front lines nowadays? What is going on? To me, this is another example of communist influence that we have that has infiltrated and subverted our culture. Each one of these do mark the next step to get to a communist or infuse a communist culture, so to speak. So when you promote easy divorce or women being the leaders or children raising children away from the parents, it does create a culture in which order has been forgotten and destroyed. So again, we're going to be investigating that and looking into that a little bit further today. So again, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe.
The investigation into the ICE shooting in Minneapolis is taking a new turn as we learn more about the victim.
Federal sources say Renee Good, the woman shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minneapolis this week, was involved in a quote ICE watch group that trained members to interfere with ICE monitoring and sometimes attempting to interfere with President Trump's nationwide illegal immigration crackdown.
You have a woman who is trying to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement operation. I can believe that her death is a tragedy while also recognizing that it's a tragedy of her own making and a tragedy of the far left who has marshaled an entire movement, a lunatic fringe against our law enforcement officers.
This picture of Good is in sharp contrast to those who knew her.
A neighbor who is not a terrorist, not an extremist. That was just a mom who loved her kids, loved her spouse.
Critics supportive of Good insist the ICE agent was not in any danger and wasn't justified in firing at her.
Give me a break. No, he was not ran over. He walked out of there with a hop in his step.
Legal systems widely recognize vehicles as potential deadly weapons, with investigators looking at speed, direction, and intent to determine whether deadly force is justified.
You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
In this incident, video from social media, including footage purportedly shot from the agent's phone, shows the SUV moving in the agent's direction before he fired. Investigators say all of these factors will be closely examined as part of the ongoing probe.
It's an epidemic of people who don't understand how the world works. We live in a fairly decadent society without, if you really want to call it, when you look at other areas throughout the world, the United States is relatively low on the scale of countries with problems. Okay. Now this happening in like a working class to moderately affluent neighborhood. These people are riding around town pursuing ICE all day. Maybe they're getting paid for it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I think everybody on this panel is well aware of the fact that you do, first of all, you stay the hell out of business that's not related to you. Okay, that's number one. So if you see somebody getting arrested on the side of the road, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what that person is alleged to have done. You stay out of that. Okay, it's not your business. Number one. Number two, what about you guys? I've always known that challenging a cop with your vehicle is something that'll probably get you taken out of here. I've always known that, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
First of all, I don't want to, if I am stopped by the police, I want to make the interaction as quick and as easy as possible. Right? Here's my license. Here's my registration. I'm not playing this bullshit sovereign citizen crap with you. And I'm going to be on about my way. I'm certainly not pursuing cops around town trying to interfere with their business. Okay?
How dumb does that sound, man?
It's idiotic. So these two, and remember, you hear clearly on that tape, she says, drive, baby, drive. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She should be held responsible for that.
Wow.
When I go back and I look at all of the videos concerning this, the woman in the car, she kind of seems like she's not totally with it. It's the other one that seems like she's full on vested in this agitation. And she said, when she's grieving, she said, I got her taken out of here.
Why did you have me a bullet? She was
Let me just open this up with an infamous quote from George Orwell. It was always the women, and above all, the young ones, who were the most bigoted adherents of the party, the swallowers of slogans, the amateur spies, and the nosers out of unorthodoxy. That is what was on display in that incident. This woman, Renee Good, was, got to make sure we get the pronouns correct on that one. Renee Good was she was a communist. She was someone who was involved in a watch group that was patrolling Minneapolis for instances for basically to fuck with ICE agents. And they had already been in the situation. They had already messed with ICE 3 times before that. So this was incident number 4 of the day. The reason why she was with that 13-year-old boy looking girl was because her husband died back in 2023, if memory serves. She only had, out of the 3 children that this woman had, she only had custody of 1. She only had custody of 1 of those kids. The other 2 safely far away from that. So within 2 to 3 days, we had like complete and total narrative collapse about this woman. This is someone who, as sad as it is for the child who will now basically not have a mother or a father at this point, because like I said, the father passed away in 2023. That's the biggest victim out of all this. But in terms of the incident itself, I do not feel sorry for her. Her little boy girlfriend needs to go to jail too. There is so much happening right now with this incident. There are, as we speak, there are thousands of Antifa and communist soldiers in the streets of Minneapolis right now. They are marching and they are advancing. They were already messing with. They went in and destroyed like 2-3 hotels last night. The chief of police had to get up out of there, right? Like it's been
they seeded whole streets,
seeded entire streets. It's like the fucking urge right now in Minneapolis. What people need to understand about communism is that they don't need truth. Truth works for people like us.
Yep.
Okay. Truth works for people who actually who are committed to. We are talking about mentally ill, psychotic, narcissistic people who worship government because it's the only bit of fucking structure they've ever had in their lives.
Why is she out there on the front lines like this?
She's ugly. I'm just gonna be honest about it. I didn't know how I was gonna say it. I'm just gonna come out and say it. She wasn't attractive, and she had no pretty bitch privilege. I hate to say this, man. I really believe the uglier you are as a female, the more you need to be inside the home, the more you need to be domestic. Because that cop, man, people in the chat, were saying, oh, he was gonna, he shot her because he was gonna get ran over. Yeah, I get that. But has she looked like Cindy Crawford or Margot Robbie or some pretty, one of your average pretty white chicks, but had she been attractive, that cop probably would have hesitated about a second, maybe. When you're not that attractive, man, a lot of, here goes the reality of the real world. A lot of men are going to treat your ass like a man. She got treated like a black man that day. I said this the other day, man, and me and a few buddies on the channel, we didn't come to a conclusion about why the cop shot that quick, which he should have shot quick. I mean, obviously she has a 2,000-pound bullet. But
4,500.
Yeah, a lot of these women, man, they're not in their natural habitats, and they're gonna be, listen, man. She probably has never at the local police level. There's oversight committees. She probably goes to citizens or civilian meetings on the police and telling them what to do. But she effed around and found out with the feds, man, and the feds sent her ass up to the upper room or the lower room, whatever one she's going to.
I'm starting to think maybe, even weight is being used as a resist arrest tactic. Look at this woman. I mean, she clearly is just sitting down.
Yep. That's a land whale right there. And she is absolute. Listen, all that. Yeah. Look at that.
So, I mean, just sitting down resists arrest.
Fucking baby oil would be, they'd be hard as hell. God damn.
So, Gippy, I want to get you in here, man. What are your thoughts, man?
Where you guys all see chaos, I see potential drone strike opportunities.
There we have
all over Minneapolis.
Oh, please. Yes,
all
please.
over. At every single one of those locations, we have a fleet of M2 Raptors and such we can use. They're going to do it to us. Go watch what they're saying.
Oh, they can't wait.
Dude, Mehdi Hassan had a whole thing. I forget who he was interviewing. He was saying that the Democrat who promises retaliation, retribution, and prosecution will win. Dude, this woman felt we live in a culture in our country where people literally feel justified to walk up to military armed federal enforcement in the legal engagement, enforcement of their duty and throw their car at them. That's insane. Or what about that guy who grabs the M4 and then he gets pepperballed in the face?
And he was hurt behind that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, what on what planet? What's next? What's your next move? You get that gun out of the federal agent's hands. What do you do next? Open fire? Like, what was your next move when the rest of the feds start shooting at you for pulling that gun off of him? Because that's what happens next. That's protocol. You pull the weapon off an officer, they're just going to light you up.
The longer the longer President Trump drags this out, and by this I mean declaring an insurrection, invoking the Insurrection Act, sending in troops, and locking up Tim Walz, Jacob Fry, and Keith Ellison. The longer this drags out, I'm telling y'all, ladies and gentlemen, 2026 Democrats are going to win. I'm telling you right now.
So you're saying we need to put an end to this right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It not only does an end have to be brought to this, it has to be dramatic, it has to be graphic, it has to be nasty. Consequence culture, baby.
Yeah.
That's where remember, these people were not even remotely sorry or restraint or having any type of restraint when it came to using power.
Yeah, you're right.
These people have no chill when it comes to using political power. When the levers of power are in their hands, when they say, when we take power again, and we're going to lock them. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be mass murder when Democrats get back in here. I'm not even going to play around. I'm not going to mince words.
I saw this on Sarah Field's page. She shared this.
With no cause and murdering people for trying to flee and for obeying a command to leave the area, and then shooting her in the face like that after she drops her kid off at school. We have to show up with guns.
I mean, notice the framing after she drops her kid off to school, not following ICE agents intentionally, right?
Right.
We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I don't have a Minnesota carry permit. I'm unarmed right now, but this is the last time I show up to face these guys without a weapon. There's no way.
Let them start.
I got shot with a pepper ball 5 minutes after walking in here. I never laid a finger on them. I never raised a hand to them.
Now listen to this, guys.
Using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
I mean, you're talking about, potentially going to a dark place in this country.
Listen.
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We had people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box.
Your immediate reaction, man. We got to get to the bullet box is what this heavyweight gentleman said.
Yeah, and he's being completely honest. So that's good. He is pretty much broadcasting the intentions of a growing contingent on the left. We got Zohar Mamdani. We got Brandon Johnson. People make a big deal about Zohar Mamdani, but Zohar Mamdani was not the first socialist mayor of a big city in America. You could argue that was Brandon Johnson. But you even got this girl out here in Seattle who her thing is more communist. She's the new mayor of Seattle. So this is spreading.
You heard about the two Trendy Aragua they popped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you saw with that.
I'm just saying, it's spread already.
You saw with that the police chief of Portland. He's crying in defense of these two and saying that they are victims.
Dude, did you see his second statement? Wait. Did you see the second statement after he got caught hiding that they're Trendy Aragua on purpose?
No.
He had to give a whole statement where he cried again, talking about how he felt bad, but he didn't want misinformation to go out, even though everyone knew already that they were Trendy Aragua.
Look, this is what I tell Democrats all the time. You probably remember Democrats when they were pushing the working class and anti-war and all that. Okay. What this is today, they just hijacked the name of the party, and this is full on Marxism. We see the same thing in South Africa right now, where the ANC and the economic freedom fighters want to establish a very violent, and they have to a large extent established a violent rule that persecutes a segment of society. They don't even want white people to leave South Africa. They're just content to persecute them violently. That is the one thing that we have in this country that many other countries, including South Africa, do not have, is the Second Amendment. And folk need to take it seriously, very, very seriously.
So, guys, what I'm still concerned about, again, is there's a lot of women leading the charge in a lot of different ways. And first off, she's on the front lines of whatever this progressive, socialist, Marxist, communist movement is. But I do want to just even kind of consider, Isaiah, you said just a moment ago, we have to end it now. We talked about the whole thing with Venezuela, with Maduro being captured and somebody actually doing something. So that was Trump doing something now, stop the flow of drugs, get oil back, what have you. This radicalization, this anti-ICE movement. But I just want to kind of get to what Megyn Kelly was actually saying when it came to, this was her response to Trump going into Venezuela. And it just kind of plays to your point when you say, we got to end this now. But we have women that say, well, no, that doesn't feel good. Or no, that, we should be kind of easier about that. Or what if?
Did anybody anticipate that? I don't think so. Okay. Venezuela is not Libya. It's not full of a bunch of Middle Eastern potential terrorists, but it's not great. Like, they've got a bunch of gangs down there who have zero problem killing Americans. Let's check in with Tren de Aragua. Let's check in with Laken Riley's family to find out whether they have any empathy for Americans. Doesn't seem so. And I don't know what faction of that group we're ticking off right now with our behavior.
Dude, that's ridiculous. She starts by listing examples of our already it's a problem. And then, who are we upsetting by doing this? Excuse me? Are we not out of order here? That would mean like we started something and they're going to have a response to that. We are responding to the aggression already against America and its citizens. There is a difference. You can't have it both ways, people. Like, this is the problem. They want it to be, because I promise you, if Megyn Kelly was getting what she wanted, they would drop bombs from 40,000 feet and level whole cities. Dude, these people, it's when they get what they want, everyone who criticizes it now, when it's their turn to have it, they do it twice as hard as what they criticize people for doing. And she is no different, dude. She's just another grifter trying to sell an America First pitch that's separate from Trump.
If you could talk to Megyn Kelly directly, what would you say to her?
I have to agree with Gimpy on this one. Everything he said, I agree with it in terms of with Megyn Kelly.
Say what you want to say, man. I know you got something. I know you agree with it.
Or a broom and have width of hand of certain people.
Guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, subscribe. So I want to share this just to let you guys know what we have coming from MCM. We have a Discord channel coming, so it's all our community channels. We'll have a channel for Poppin' Politics, Christian Conservative, and Just the Guys here. We are launching our website in February. Again, Metro Conservative Media is the home of the Urban Conservative. We're going to have, our podcast, some written articles, our community hub for all the voices that we hear from on a day-to-day, weekly basis. And also, we're going to start supporting some of our local businesses within the Baltimore area and across the country. So I'm really excited about that, guys. And we have a couple of local places that are willing to host our podcast. So we look forward to being actually out in the community pretty soon. So definitely excited about what's to come. The New York Post was actually digging a little bit further into Renee Good. And guys, this is why it's so important really for men to be, back in home and in their rightful place. But New York Post posted this article. The truth comes out about Minneapolis mom Renee Nicole Good. And apparently she was sending her child to a school called the Southside Family Charter School, and they offer a curriculum rooted in social justice. So I was trying to trace this back because in this Red State article here, they put a link to the page, that they had posted on this particular curriculum. So I went to the page, and of course they've taken it down. So then I went to archive and saw that the page actually did exist. And so for over 50 years, Southside Family Charter School has provided social justice focused education in South Minneapolis. So you see there, they have had a history of that communist influence of taking over the kids, right? So fathers are there to guard, guide, and govern, but you remove the men from the home, and then you inject this anti-family, anti-order mentality with the kids. But not only that, you train the parents to be activists that are vulnerable. So I just want to get you guys' thoughts on that, man, because you see here that there's clearly a push to really destroy America within. So I just want to get your thoughts here. CT, now let's respond here, man. I know you hate communism, man. I know.
Yes.
You are hate like this is you hate communism. But what do you how do you respond to this, man?
It's just a communist farm. It's a farm for the next generation of kids, man. She's obviously, or she was aware that the school probably had more, like it said in its description, more of a curriculum of teaching, probably underwater basket weaving African women's studies. But I don't know, man. A lot of these liberals are hell bent on destroying the country for some reason, man. I don't know what it is.
Do you think people are?
I think a lot of people have a factory reset to live under some sort of communism or some sort of system of some sort of shared system or some sort of system of the lack of it. Yeah, I really believe like a lot of human beings are already. Some of us are just born like that. Some of us aren't. You know.
No, you're absolutely right, because I mean we're in the 250th year of the United States of America. You talk about American exceptionalism. It's not what people think. American exceptionalism is the notion that this type of system existing, the government existing for, by, and of the people. That is what's exceptional. Okay, in history, throughout human history, you haven't seen that, right? The people exist for the purposes of the government. Okay, so throughout the bulk of human history, societal history, most humans have been under some sort of totalitarian rule. And as CP said, maybe that is. I've often thought that liberty was something that most humans cannot appreciate, because with liberty comes a hell of a lot of responsibility.
Like, did I ever tell you my ice cream story? I went to a camp called Camp Hiram when I was a little child. Of course, they give you 3 meals a day. You have to pay to go there. But some kids, I don't think some kids had to pay. I think it was some sort of like stipend or something. But it was kind of like an exclusive. I don't know at the time. It seemed like it was, but like an exclusive camp. But and then they provided you like with a snack. But if your parents gave you money, you could use your money at like this little store that was on the campground, right? So one day I went into the store, and the lady who worked in the store said, there's like a balance that you get, and my balance was low. And I'm like, I didn't use this fucking money. And the lady said, "Oh, your counselors took your money and gave your money to kids who needed it." I said, "Motherfucker," and I'm like, and obviously I'm going to fight the camp. I was like 11. So, and that's when I really started to hate the idea of communism, socialism. The idea is like, I can't help it that they sorry ass parents didn't work hard enough. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I can't help that. But, so that's my ice cream story.
I went to an HBCU my first semester in college.
Yeah.
And they were introducing this program called the C program. Pretty much all you had to do was show up to class and you got a C. And I'm like, yo, I know these kids ain't working, and I'm taking classes like calculus. I'm taking, advanced literature classes. And, I work hard for my A, and I know at this time that, when you graduate, nobody, like, the employer is not really caring about your transcripts or things like that. But to me, it's the principle of it. It was like, yeah, I worked hard for the grade I got, and you're just giving these other kids free pass. This is Logic reporting from downtown my backyard outside. It's 2026. You still giving woke corporations your money? Find out how you can make the switch. Go to switchwithlogic.com right now. People yearn to be taken care of over freedom, unfortunately. Now, I'm curious about that, though. Is that a male thing or a woman thing, right?
No, because women, no, don't want responsibility, because with responsibility comes the problem of having to do something. When you're being told all the time, stand here for food, stand here. Dude, that's why so many people get institutionalized in jail, man. Because you have everything. I mean, there's all sorts of horrible shit, but I'm saying, like, you have a place to stay, you have food given to you, you have entertainment provided to you. You don't have to think about your life anymore. You don't have to invest anything. You just get to turn a switch in your head and become a lemming.
Well, is it that the majority think like that, or is it that certain people?
No, it's an archetype. 80% of people would rather not have the responsibility of managing their own life, dude. Easy. 80% of the people. Ask people. Look at people.
How many? Let us know in the chat. Would you rather
40 years, man, and not need to change? If they make their bills, they pay the thing, they find their tiny little happiness, and they have no ambition. Ambition is a tiny little trait that's held amongst the very few, and good ambition is even less available out there in the world. You're talking about things that are not gender related. It's the human condition, man.
Yeah.
People don't want to be responsible. It's hard. It is hard every day waking up and having to own your life. It is hard every day having to tell the truth.
You're absolutely right. But then when you combine that, there's another ingredient here, and that is materialism and consumerism that tricks you into believing you are fulfilled. That component also plays a part. So you get a society that
theater the masses stuff.
Absolutely.
They give us this whole dude. Do you remember the movie Sleepless in Seattle? Tom Hanks is talking about how they empower us with coffee choices, right? Because you go to CT's favorite Do Funny spot, you got to make 97 choices to get one cup of coffee. I need a I need a grande with whip, with soy, local, soy.
The illusion of choice.
Right, and you have all these dopamine hits for making all these choices, and then you get an object, and you're like, oh my God, I just had the culmination of 97 choices in one thing. It's a massive dopamine hit. People are generally happy with small lives as long as those small lives are comfortable. I mean, dude, so I was talking to Yana the other night, and we were talking about like what would happen in apocalypse, and she was like, what do you mean? It's like what the Soviet Union was in the 90s. You're just living to survive. So we didn't have hot water for a week. Do you know the joy everybody felt when the water got turned on?
Right.
She's talking, and you see this like vigor. Right. And I'm like, you do understand that you're having a vigor for something we can walk upstairs and turn on at any time right now. And somehow that's supposed to be better than this. Right. Like that's how people are wired. If you give them enough goal oriented relief in their life where they feel they hit thresholds and I got this luxury because I waited in line, or I got this. People, their brain will flip and say, this is good. You are safe. You have what's provided for you. You don't need more.
If you notice, when it comes to communism, the people who adopt communism the fastest and are the most fervent of adherents to it are privileged kids.
Sure. That's a good point.
They're not the ones who earned the wealth. They are the kids who suck off of it. They're the kids who benefit from it. I'll give you a perfect example of this. Here in New York, that Sia Weaver lady, you might have heard of her. She's working in Zohran Mamdani's administration. This is a woman who has openly said that she, as a that bitch about as white as this piece of paper right here. Okay? Skin the same complexion, everything. And that girl says that she wanted to, quote, change people's relationship with private property, especially white people. Oh, and some people of color. She added at the end of it. Now, couple things. Okay, this lady, the Sia Weaver lady, lives in a rent stabilized apartment in Crown Heights. This girl is one of many gentrifiers who have taken over and made New York City even more expensive than it already is. But that's not even the end of it. Sia Weaver's parents are real estate magnates in Tennessee, I believe, where her mom lives in a house that's nearly $2 million.
Yep.
I feel that she has not suffered enough under the white supremacy in real estate ownership. I feel like she definitely has not reached any threshold.
Zohran, even Zohran himself. I mean, we're talking about a guy who is like, his mom is a filmmaker, is a film director.
Yeah, but at least he failed at something like a good communist. Dude, he's a failed rapper.
Hold on, and what was the last part about about his father?
His father is a professor at Columbia University,
a communist professor.
Communism. And again, but the thing is, they still have a measure of wealth. They still own property. How about that? They still own property in Uganda.
Absolutely.
Oh, dude, they're one of the richest land. Isn't his family one of the richest landowning? Like, aren't they up there in
Uganda? In Uganda. Yeah. In fact, Zohran Mamdani is on record as saying that he does not believe in private property, yet he personally owns private property in Uganda. And mind you, Uganda is one of the leading nations for childhood homelessness. So you want to absolutely. So why don't you practice what you preach, and why don't you collectivize the land that you own personally to house some of these homeless children? Not to mention, his parents own a compound in Uganda. Before he took office, they had some sort of wedding celebration for him and his wife over there. And the townspeople were like, man, they had private security. They had music blasting. We couldn't get any sleep. Okay. So this is as I always say, the Politburo always lives high on the hog. Okay.
The Politburo ends up becoming the bourgeoisie.
Absolutely.
That's the goal.
Stalin partied every fucking night. Okay, until the day he died. Okay, I mean, big time caviar, the finest alcohol. Until just he still might be, but as of 2023, Kim Jong-un was the largest private buyer of Johnny Walker Blue. So these guys live high on the hard.
Have you seen Am I Racist? That movie by Matt Walsh?
Yeah.
Remember that scene in there? See, these are the movies I've seen, guys.
Yeah, because you're a nerd. You are a nerd, sir.
Yes. All right. So whatever, man. So you remember that scene where it's he's interviewing Robin DiAngelo?
This has been producer on the film. I thought it would be a powerful opportunity to speak directly to a person of color and confront our racism and also apologize for the white supremacist systems that oppress Ben's.
Matt Walsh is like, why don't you give some reparations now?
I want to pay you reparations right now. This is all I have. I know that doesn't make up for 400 years of oppression, but it's all that I have to give. Did you want to pay any?
That was really weird.
And he was like, yeah, just give some money to my to my camera guy.
God.
And she was like, that's not the thing. And she was kind of confused at that point.
You just took out your wallet, and I don't know, because I think reparations is like a systemic dynamic and approach. There may be some people who would be offended by. Clearly, we're not offended.
I won't turn down cash. Are we going to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable and just do what we can personally, or are we going to waiting for the system to catch up?
Yeah, they go together.
This is something that I can do right now. Why wouldn't I do it?
It seemed like it's not a systemic approach, or it just seemed...
it's not, because I'm not waiting for the system.
I can go get some cash for sure.
Right? Because it kind of goes to the point of Mamdani, like, and Sia Weaver, like, yeah, why don't you give up your house? Well, that's kind of like, this is my house, that's not the system. And Robin DiAngelo's like, well, we need to institute some type of reparation versus, well, why don't you just give what you have right now to the black man in front of you? It's just weird, man.
Because I'm going to tell you why that is. Because when we've obviously talked about that communism is a religion of the state, right? That communism is really what I've said is communism is a religion of the self made manifest by the state. The reason why they do this, in my opinion, is because if they can use the mechanisms of government or their friends within the oligarchies to do the dirty work that they want done, think of it. Think of how great it. Think of how great it is, right? To be able to do big things and follow all of your little priorities, but not spend a dime of your own money.
It's always other people's money.
I mean, listen. That's what the whole thing is with Minnesota. You think them fucking white people up there, you think them white liberals are worried about like how much fraud? We're talking about $18 billion worth of fraud that was uncovered just there in Minnesota.
So far.
There's a scandal opening up right now here in the state of New York where there's about $1.8 billion of fraud to begin with, right? Here in the state of New York. The issue right now, but the reason why white liberals don't care, these white leftists don't care, is because some brown people are getting money. They're atoning for white supremacy. They're atoning for the sin of living in a privileged, rich country. So they have to make some niggers happy. Yep. That's what this is about. We have to, we have to do something for the niggers to keep them on the plantation, right? We have to make the field. We have to make the field equipment happy, so that they'll keep voting for us. Yep. That's the direct benefit that they see. It's purely transactional. It's disturbing.
That's why you have, did you see California, which was never a slave state? San Francisco just authorized $5 million payments to black people at the same time saying, oh, we can't afford it. But
we can't afford it, right?
Right, but here's what we're doing. But mind you, we can't afford it, right? It's the same philosophy that Isaiah just mentioned.
All right, tough shit, Gimpy. We all moving to San Francisco.
Have fun. Later. I'll let you go
hit a couple dollars. Hey guys, real quick, man. I want to show you guys something.
All I can say to this is that this goes back to that we've developed a culture in this country where you literally they feel there are no consequences if they feel they're ideologically correct. It doesn't matter what side of the spectrum you're on, either in the ideology that you are. But if you think that somehow your might is right, then you have no problem walking up to an armed officer and just doing something stupid, right? That you have no problem putting yourself in harm's way and saying, why was I harmed? These guys get beaten. You saw that one cop who did the shooting. He had already been previously hurt. He got messed up from that. Those pictures you saw in the video. I'm sorry. We have to accept that we're getting to the point where, like, there has to be a real accounting. The last 5 years alone have been without consequence. People need to start going to jail.
So I don't know if you guys saw this, but there were this particular neighborhood was actually shark infested that the shooting happened in. So I will see if I'm gonna try to stop it at the right time. But looking behind this car, I mean this Honda, you can see a shark. Can you see it? It's behind Alpha News.
What the hell?
A shark.
Hold on, and then hold on. I'm gonna get a steal of it. But also down the street there is a dinosaur, and I wanted to play the video here first just to show. You see behind her, right?
Yes,
I do see that. I do see that.
Look,
I do see that.
So this neighborhood that they were in is kind of wild. So let me share this.
Bored white people. Jesus Christ.
I can't.
So again, behind her, there's the shark. I mean the dinosaur, and this is another angle from a different camera. This neighborhood is crazy. But yeah, here's
holy. Wow. What am I looking at? Oh my Lord.
Oh wow. Yo, Sharknado blew through this, eh?
So they have, I guess, a prehistoric or animal theme going on in this particular neighborhood. Like the backdrop for this stuff could not be more great.
Dude, this is why I say all I see are just potential drone strike opportunities.
It's going to get very difficult to discern what is reality from AI. Okay.
Well, that's why I played the video first. That's why
I got you. I'm not suggesting this is, but I think we're all starting to experience AI that is really, give it 18 months and you will not know the difference. And the danger there is getting us to react to certain things in certain ways that may not have authentically occurred.
I mean, I get it. That's true.
But that's happening already. It'll happen at a much larger scale with what you're saying. But the deep fake is the deep fake, right? Like they've been faking video and stuff. And they go to pay, sometimes it was big budget stuff, but now it's low budget. They can do it with AI, but it happens all
because Gimpy, if you're able to drive this sort of reaction to get the left out in the street, right? You know that if certain things happen, you can mobilize the left, right?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to create these things, the appearance of these things, then you don't have to sit back and wait for an incident.
Wins.
You can drive it. Yeah.
Count the profit at this point. We live in 1984. We sign it away voluntarily, like, because I work for a software manufacturer, right? So we sign away our privacy every time you use each individual piece of software. It's not like you can agree to, like, you do it once. You agree on every single thing you use on every single device. You basically tell every company, take all my data. We are the product. Like, you understand that the biggest trick that they play is they get us to pay to be the actual product.
Sure. No doubt. We're acting as the product here.
Yeah, we're the product here. And I'm just in general, like, you think you're buying something like a piece of software or a video game or a new device. What you're really doing is giving access to your whole life to a corporation for them to sell that data to anyone who wants to buy it anywhere in the world.
It's market research, right?
Dude, it's the most valuable thing on earth. When these software companies sell, 80% of the time they don't give a damn about the software that they're buying. They're buying the list that comes with it from customers, resellers, marketing, the irreplaceable market data that you buy that a company has in business for 20 years. There are software.
ChatGPT did a yearly recap thing. I don't know if anybody use ChatGPT, but they did your year in ChatGPT for 2025.
For what you did on your ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Did you have to be subscription?
Had to record it
for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. And then Google Music does Google Music does one for your YouTube. So that's the crazy part.
Spotify does it for your playlist on Spotify, man.
Hold on, because there was this YouTube did the one for like your year on YouTube, and it really gives you like it's crazy how accurate it is. It gives you like your like the videos you watch, and it says you're this type of person. It really kind of
like a Myers-Briggs type of behavioral assessment.
Yeah.
Does anyone know, maybe somebody in the chat knows, I haven't been to a library in a long time. Do any of the libraries still use the Dewey Decimal System or the card catalog?
Definitely the card catalog, but
it's still in use.
Yeah, they still use
it. Okay. The reason I'm asking is because the card catalog is anonymous. Look up something and nobody knows, right? But when you start typing things into Google or some library computer, then why is he looking up that book type thing?
They still have a Dewey Decimal System.
Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, why do you think men have, I guess, kind of stepped aside and allowed this kind of communist influence to take place, where it's really destroying families, taking over families, and putting women in more of the lead? Now, is this, do you think this was a conscious choice by men, a subverted choice by men, or too comfortable? Like, what do you think?
It's the coochie, Logic. It's the coochie. When I was a young man in college, I would go to women's rights groups. I would, a lot for the free food, because we run out of money on the food cards, but a lot of it was to be in proximity of hoes, man. Women do have a lot of rights in the country because this country has given rights to everybody, and there are more women to a degree, right? There are more women population wise, so they have they control access to coochie, and you want to get some ass. You're a dude, young guy. You don't want to offend some chick by giving your opinion about politics if you even care about it. So some stupid chick who has a socialism sticker on the back of her computer in her dorm, or if she's older, you're gonna sit up there and talk about, well, how can you be a socialism with a $2,000 computer? No, because you're just thinking about getting some coach. So that's what it really boils down to, man. And even in older age, man, you're out with a chick, man. You ain't gonna talk about no goddamn politics, ruining no goddamn chance to get some ass that night. Nah, you want to get some coochie, man. You want to get a hand job on a ride home. So
CT went in there with the shirt saying equal rights for women. He had the hat on and everything. He walked right up to her and he said, "Can you step on me? And then can I get your number?"
Yeah. Yeah. That's all what it is, Logic, to be honest with you, bro. If men were really disciplined, we could control the paradigm, but it's that box, man.
Dude, there are too many Linwoods.
I will say, if you really, well, why the question is, why have men just kind of abdicated from leading? And I would say largely the answer is yes. The fact of the matter is, a lot of guys, when you trying to get in, I have to agree with CT. There's going to be there's going to be like a certain level of bullshit that leftist bullshit that you're gonna put up with. There's a meme of Thomas Sowell where he's warning men against the dangers of socialist titties. But when men, black men in particular, are raised by women, when they have no frame of reference or any frame of reference as to what a man would be or should be, or even worse, they're being raised by women who have their own fucked up ideas of what a man actually is. Of course they're going to step back. Of course they're not going to be. Of course they're going to be as self-deprecating and as shrinking as possible, because the black woman is God. Right? In a lot of respects. Black women, we was queens, we was kings, all that shit. What bothers me the most is when a black man who can think for themselves and who wants to lead, that's the bigger problem. When a black man wants to lead, when a black man stands as an individual and wants to lead and wants to be, to actually show that he has something, right? Like he doesn't think like everyone else. Like he wants to lead. He sees things that are going on. That is a threat to the rest of the collective. It is a threat. And I'm telling you, a lot of black folk, especially if they've been voting Democrat most of their lives, that is very, very threatening to a black man. I'm saying to someone who is collectivist minded, whether they realize it or not. I'll take a D.L. Hughley, for example. D.L. Hughley, one of the most bitch ass niggas you'll ever meet in your life. But people think he's he's a superstar in the Democratic. The dude talks like a woman. All of his mannerisms are feminism. He sounds like a bitch. People like that in a guy like DL because he advances the agenda. He a bitch just by that scarf. Look at that shit.
Even though I was raised in a household,
with his pocket square, man. That's disturbing. That's disturbing.
That's the Roland Martin shit. and he'd even
that is awful.
Bro, let him finish what he's going.
No, I can't listen to him. He has a pocket square like a clown. What is he going to pull it out and it goes forever? He just
oh my gosh.
I'm gonna give me some. But never mind. Go ahead.
Here we go. So he's talking about how he grew up and how he was raised. He's talking about how his the image of his father really came from his mom, because he called his father one time, and on the other end, his father said, "You lied to me," talking to his mom. Like, that is not my child. Kind of skips past then, and that was kind of ingrained in him. So
even though I was raised in a household, single mother, my aunts were around, my grandmother was in the South, there was a matriarchal family. The reality is, when we're talking about the things that we were studying, be it math, science, history, etc., everything was through the lens of men, as if women didn't exist. I knew from the time I was 11, 12 years old that I wanted to be a writer, because I discovered this very hyper-masculine male writer named Ernest Hemingway. And I love Hemingway. But in my 13 years of school, the only woman writer that I remember was Emily Dickinson. But it's not just there. It's also pop culture, the mass media culture. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but it should have broken our hearts when Frances McDormand won her Oscar back in February. Remember that, y'all, this year? And she asked all the women to stand up in that audience. And you saw all these women. I've worked in the entertainment industry for many, many years. Women are the real leaders in our communities.
He can make CT's coffee. He's qualified.
Especially with that scarf, honey.
Oh, dude, that's
pretty funny.
Dude, how can you listen to that? How can you take a man who moves around like a clown seriously?
In a room full of white people.
Like, dude, that guy is a clown.
Hold on a second. Who the fuck you think he is? The Ta-Nehisi Coates?
One thing that stood out when he said, what was it? He didn't know any female writers other than he mentioned one.
Emily Dickinson, yeah.
Okay, so Helen Keller, Laura Ingalls Wilder. He was deprived, basically. I mean, all it takes is a trip to the library, and you can find, plenty of other. This is, I think, where we're going with this. 2007, the Clinical Journal of Endocrinology and something, I forget the other. It's a scientific journal on biology. They came out with a study about testosterone rates that have dropped precipitously from 87 to 99, and then again from 2002 to 2004. It had nothing to do with age, okay? This was in America across all demographics. So that leads me to believe that there's something atmospheric, environmental that has happened to reduce these testosterone rates, and we're seeing it because we don't have a World War II, a bunch of guys that are willing to go out and do the things like storming the beaches of Normandy, by and large. I mean, do you really think we could get that same amount of guys together today to do something like that?
I mean, after last weekend now, maybe.
Look, scientifically speaking, though, it is true that testosterone levels
are
just
down.
a scientific fact have been
Not any doubt, but that happens all the time. I agree with you. I'm not, but again, I wanted to answer the other thing with the men and women that we were talking about before you showed that strange fellow flailing around on stage. Men are responsible. You talk about it's because men wanted easy out. They wanted to be able to walk away from marriages, relationships. So they created laws called no-fault divorce. And from there, we created an epidemic of single mothers. And from there, you get all the other stuff that you're talking about. I have to arguably say it's really men's fault. We had our hands on total power. We decided that we would start sharing it. So we started sharing it. And then we got to the point where we decided that if we're going to share it, now we want to take advantage of it. And we created a disaster from it.
I agree that men are making decisions, right? But when you look at...
They passed all the laws. It was all passed by men.
I understand, but...
There are no women leading the charge that led us here. They're soldiers now. They're the modern leaders. Sure. It all comes from men choosing this. Back when men were men and masculinity was still masculinity. Suffragette is way before.
Well, understand that there's an economic component to this. Okay.
Yeah.
1913, we got the income tax, right?
Yep.
And then if you look post 1913, you got a lot of women's lib movements popping up. Why? Not so much because the powers that be thought that women should be able to do the jobs of that men were traditionally doing, but to get both adults out of that house into a W-2 situation where they were paying into this post-1913 income tax structure.
Dude, men did that. Men. That reinforces my point, sir. That's all I'm saying. I agree with you.
I'm not disputing it.
No,
I'm going back to the root of why
Yeah.
saw that.
Dude, if men could have kept their shit together, we wouldn't have communism. We would have listened to McCarthy in the 50s. We would have stopped it back then. We wouldn't have the plague it is now. Dude, at every critical linchpin moment, it's not a woman standing there. It is a man, and the person opposing him is another man.